What you see behind me is a tanker that has caught fire and has spread to parts of other buildings here. And currently the access routes leading to this place is very poor and is making the fire service have difficulty in dousing the fire. The affected area is alleged to be a hideout for illegal fuel siphoning activities. Eyewitnesses say some individuals were using gallons to siphon fuel from the tanker at the hideout. While in the illegal operation, a tricycle on ignition close to the activities sparked fire. Ashanti Regional Deputy Fire Commander Rashid Nisau said residents failed in attempt to douse the fire, which later spread.
They brought Abraboboya with 4 gallons to siphon fuel into the Abuboya. In the process, it caught fire, and they were concentrating on putting out the fire on the Abuboya. They couldn't put it out, and then it spread to the main tank, and the fire started burning. But it has also affected adjoining structures. These quarters who are here, it has affected them, the bush behind the wall, and threatening a warehouse that was close to the facility.
About 50 makeshift structures occupied by squatters were burnt completely. No casualty has been recorded, but a number of families have been displaced.
Obi stupid mistake into what the car we have see na or fuel be ema ja betom me nifie na ba be me fie nyina mantimi amfa bibia mpie.
The fire spread to an abandoned factory in the area. 4 fire tenders arrived at the scene as firefighters brought the situation under control. The fire command wants police support to curtail the illegal fuel siphoning.
The driver, who is the victim, the Abuboya driver, everybody has run away. So we don't have them here. So we wouldn't be able to get more information on exactly what has happened. But from people who were around, this is what they saw and they narrated to us. And they said siphoning fuel is a constant practice that goes on here that they know. But today was a bad day for them. And then this is what happened.
From Kaase for Joy News, Mona Lisa Frempong reporting.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe.
What you see behind me is a tanker that has caught fire and has spread to parts of other buildings here. And currently the access routes leading to this place is very poor and is making the fire service have difficulty in dousing the fire. The affected area is alleged to be a hideout for illegal fuel siphoning activities. Eyewitnesses say some individuals were using gallons to siphon fuel from the tanker at the hideout. While in the illegal operation, a tricycle on ignition close to the activities sparked fire. Ashanti Regional Deputy Fire Commander Rashid Nisau said residents failed in attempt to douse the fire, which later spread.
They brought Abraboboya with 4 gallons to siphon fuel into the Abuboya. In the process, it caught fire, and they were concentrating on putting out the fire on the Abuboya. They couldn't put it out, and then it spread to the main tank, and the fire started burning. But it has also affected adjoining structures. These quarters who are here, it has affected them, the bush behind the wall, and threatening a warehouse that was close to the facility.
About 50
these quarters main on the Abuboya. It
later spread.
They brought
Nisau said residents failed in attempt parked fire. Ashanti Regional Deputy Fire Commander Rashid Nisau said residents failed in attempt to douse the fire, which later spread.
They brought Abraboboya with 4 gallons to siphon fuel into the Abuboya. In the process, it caught fire, and they were concentrating on putting out the fire on the Abuboya. They couldn't put it out, and then it spread to the main tank, and the fire started burning. But it has also affected adjoining structures. These quarters who are here, it has affected them, the bush behind the wall, and threatening a warehouse that was close. close to the facility.
About 50 makeshift structures occupied by squatters were burnt completely. No casualty has been recorded, but a number of families have been displaced.
Obi stupid mistake into what the car we have see na or fuel be ema agya betom mimi nifie na ba be me fie nyina mantimi amfa bibi ampie.
The fire spread to an abandoned factory in the area. 4 fire tenders arrived at the scene as firefighters brought the situation under control. The fire command wants police support to curtail the illegal fuel siphoning.
The driver, who is the victim, the Aboboya driver, everybody has run away. So we don't have them here. So we wouldn't be able to get more information on exactly what has happened. But from people who were around, this is what they saw and they narrated to us. And they said siphoning fuel is a constant practice that goes on here that they know. But today was a bad day for them. And then this is what happened.
From Kaase for Joy News, Mona Lisa Frempong reporting.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe and click the bell icon and get notified every time we share something interesting. We would love to have you on there.
What you see behind me is a tanker that has caught fire and has spread to parts of other buildings here. And currently the access routes leading to this place is very poor and is making the fire service have difficulty in dousing the fire. The affected area is alleged to be a hideout for illegal fuel siphoning activities. Eyewitnesses say some individuals were using gallons to siphon fuel from the tanker at the hideout. While in the illegal operation, a tricycle on ignition close to the activity sparked fire. Ashanti Regional Deputy Fire Commander Rashid Nisau said residents failed in attempt to douse the fire, which later spread.
They brought Aboboya with 4 gallons to siphon fuel into the Aboboya. In the process, it caught fire, and they were concentrating on putting out the fire on the Aboboya. They couldn't put it out, and then it spread to the main tank, and the fire started burning. But it has also affected adjoining structures. These squatters who are here, it has affected them, the bush behind the wall, and threatening a warehouse that was close to the facility.
About 50 makeshift structures occupied by squatters were burnt completely. No casualty has been recorded, but a number of families have been displaced.
Obi stupid mistake into what the car we have see na or fuel be ema agya betom mimi nifie na ba be me fie nyina mantimi amfa bibi ampie.
The fire spread to an abandoned factory in the area. 4 fire tenders arrived at the scene as firefighters brought the situation under control. The fire command wants police support to curtail the illegal fuel siphoning.
The driver, who is the victim, the Aboboya driver, everybody has run away. So we don't have them here. So we wouldn't be able to get more information on exactly what has happened. But from people who were around, this is what they saw and they narrated to us. And they said siphoning fuel is a constant practice that goes on here that they know. But today was a bad day for them. And then this is what happened.
From Kaase for Joy News, Mona Lisa Frempong reporting.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe and click the bell icon and get notified every time we share something interesting. We would love to have you on there.
What you see
Hey! Now, it is alleged that the area is a hideout for individuals engaged in illegal fuel siphoning activities. An eyewitness have told us that some individuals who were using gallons to siphon fuel from a tanker at the hideout, where at it when the explosion occurred. Now, the fire, we're told, spread into an abandoned factory in the area, and about 50 makeshift structures occupied by squatters were burned down. Now, if you join us on Facebook, you would get to appreciate the situation, because our firemen, they were there, and they helped in putting out the fire. One surprising thing, I've never seen them at work like this before, but at one point in time you could see clearly that in fighting fire they put their lives at risk. And if you join us on Facebook right now, you get to appreciate and get to understand what it is I'm talking about. Join us on LUV 99.5 FM right now and get to appreciate what it is I'm talking about. You get to see how they risk their lives in their line of work. So we're live on Facebook right now. Go check it out. This explosion happened on Friday afternoon. Well, we have laws that regulate the discharge of fuel, yet these laws are not being applied to the full. Some people sell petroleum products also from wooden structures in gallons with no regard to safety measures. These are all looming dangers, and yet nothing or very little is being done about it. I mean, you tell me how you feel about all this. Send us voice notes to 055-1111-995. Let's hear from you. When you know that there are laws governing things that we should be doing or things we do, and yet the laws are not being applied the way they ought to, how does that make you feel? We are in a dry season, and we were told last week by DO3 Peter Adair that one of the main fire causes has to do with bushfires. They've recorded more bushfires than any other fires, and yet we are here, and people are selling petroleum products from wooden structures. It is something that you ask yourself, what is the difficulty? Why can't we clamp down on these people and solve the problem? Later this morning, you'll be hearing from Kudos. Kudos works with the MPA. Indeed, he is the communication manager for the MPA. He'll be joining us on the phone lines for this conversation as well. But you were on the ground. Your men were on the ground, Peter Adair, at Kaase when the explosion occurred. What can you tell us about that fire?
Good morning to you and to your listeners. And I hope all of you are well.
By grace, we are.
You're looking good this morning as well.
Thank you very much, sir.
Point of correction, it was not an explosion.
Okay.
It was a fire, not an explosion.
Okay.
So around 1:19 in the afternoon on Friday, we got a distress call that there's a fire at... initially, we heard that it was at Bost. So we rushed there quickly to... see that the fire was at Kaase. I understand the area is called Faris, and the fire was well alight. So we had to quickly mobilize 3 additional tenders, making 4 tenders to be able to fight the fire. The fire was involved in a tanker, about 18 liters petrol tanker that was filled to capacity, and preliminary investigation suggests that they were siphoning fuel into gallons that were packed in this tricycle popularly called Abubuya. So in the process of doing that, the Abubuya caught fire, and they tried to extinguish the fire, but they were unable to do so. So the fire spread to the tanker, then to other adjoining other structures that were also wooden structures that were also nearby, and to a factory that was also close by. But with the factory, it got the flying embers got into contact with some bush, dry bush around, and that one also got bent. So we had to contain the fire from spreading further, finally extinguish it, and now everything is okay.
And we're told that there were no casualties.
There were no casualties, actually. There were no
Okay.
casualties.
But do we know the extent of damage so far? I mean, you talk about, wooden structures that were engulfed in the fire completely and all that. Do we know the extent of damage so far?
We know that about 15 to 20 wooden structures got bent. The tanker also got bent totally. It's the Abubuya, or the tricycle, that was partially bent. So those are the things that got damaged. As to the cost of it, our reports says that the owners of the properties were not there at the moment of the fire. So investigations is still underway to ascertain the cost of damage and ascertain the true cause of fire as well.
So this area where the siphoning of the fuel was going on, we hear, is an area where fuel siphoning takes place periodically. Has that come to your attention?
It has. In fact, we got the information on the ground from what the people told us when the firefighting was in progress, was that they usually come there to siphon fuel, but they have actually done nothing about it. They haven't reported to us. They haven't reported to the police. So we are not in the known until now.
So now that you're in the known, now that you know that area is a place where people siphon fuel, and I'm sure that if you go down the grounds and you do more checks, you come to the realization that other places, maybe fuel tanker drivers siphon fuel. What are you going to do about it?
We'll need a collaborative effort to be able to fight this. So we'll have to join hands with the police and with the MPA and EPA to be able to fight this and stop it, because it's something that is a cause of worry.
When you say fight it and stop it, you give me the assurance that indeed something can be done about it. But Peter Ade, we have people who are, as we speak currently, even today when you go around, you come across people who have makeshift wooden structures or maybe containers, and they have drums, big drums filled with fuel in it, and selling fuel to people. So you cannot say that you're not aware of this, are you?
In fact, we are aware of those ones, and those ones that we are aware of, we've done something about it. We've stopped a lot of them from operating. In fact, the last time I remember we did an exercise in that regard was in late last year. We stopped a few from operating. The ones that come to our knowledge, we stop them from operating. But information you are picking from the ground suggests that when you stop them from operating at one point, they move to another point. So we still need citizens to give us information.
Are you saying that places where they are selling on Tabletop, selling diesel, selling petrol right now are places that you are not aware of?
I'm saying the ones that have come to our knowledge.
What I'm saying is, I've heard that bit, but what I'm also asking is, are you saying that places where they are selling now, you are not aware that they are selling fuel there now?
I'm saying the ones that come to our knowledge, we stop them from operating.
Erastus Asaridonko joins us on the phone lines now. He's covered such fire incidents a number of times. And Erastus, good morning to you.
Good morning, David.
Trust all is well with you.
I'm well, by His grace.
All right, so what input would you like to make in terms of the conversation we're having? I hear you want to make some input.
In fact, if the man in your studio represents MP.
No, he does not represent the MP. He is the PRO for the fire service here in the Ashanti region.
Okay, then that's fine. But if the MP comes online and they say they are not aware of these activities of people stealing and siphoning fuel on the Kaase stretch, then they are perpetrating falsehood. Myself, I have reported to the NPA many times in my line of work There is a gentleman who operates this siphoning business in a bigger deal close to the abattoir. In fact, he started very small. He was siphoning fuel in gallons and retailing them. It was against the rules. He was operating directly under a high-tension cable there. It caught fire about 4 years ago. I covered it. I made a formal report to the MPA. We went to the place with the MPA. At that point, they said they were going to seize all of these things there. They managed we went around like an operation. We seized many of these people who were selling on tables and other things. Within a matter of 1 month, they returned their equipment to them and they came back to the streets and they were siphoning the fuel. Now, this gentleman whose place caught fire close to the abattoir about 4 years ago has now extended his business. He has walled it. In fact, he has created a wall, a concrete wall around the place. Now, tanker vehicles coming in, drive in closely, and then hide in there, and they siphon fuel from the tankers before they go to their destination. And I tell you, a number of people, policemen, whatever, go in there to fill their tanks. I had gone in there to take pictures. And there was this man who came to my office at that time. My late boss, Said, was there to beg me not to do the story, not to expose this, because the guy is his nephew and all that. So if the authorities say they are not aware, they are fully aware of the operations of these people, and they are there siphoning fuel on a daily basis, very dangerously. If you go in there, they siphon the fuel, they retail it in gallons and ancre and all that in there. There's a wall place in there.
All right, so Erasmus, hold on for me. Erasmus, hold on for me, because we now have Mohammed Abdul Kudus on the line. He's the communications manager for the MPA. Abdul, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Trust you're well.
By His grace.
All right, thanks for making time to talk to us. So we know that the MPA's Act, prohibits any person other than one licensed, under the Act from being in possession of a petroleum product in quantities unreasonably in excess of what the person's immediate need is. Yet people do, and the fear is that with the fact that they are doing it illegally and are not adhering to any of the safety measures, we are all at risk. An example is what happened here in Kaase at Kaase on Friday, where people were siphoning fuel. And my colleague is on the phone line, Erasmus Donko. He says for 4 years, he's been covering such stories, which means that it is something that is ongoing. Is the MPA aware, and what has the MPA been able to do about it?
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to your cherished listeners who probably will be listening to that this morning. In fact, the knowledge of the activities of these people are very much in the know to the MPA. We, like you said, it is actually outlawed, and we have regularly tried to arrest this activity. But as you might be aware, this is somehow a matter of bread and butter for some people. And as much as we try to fight them, they actually also try to come back at us. And for that matter, we've regularly tried to seek the effort of the police. Because, yes, we might have the regulatory powers, we might have a certain enforcement powers. But when it comes to this particular issue and the risk involved, the police are better able to do it than us. So we've been carrying out regular sweep on their activity. But like I said, it is something that keeps coming up. And I believe the police and the MPA and probably other related organizations in the fight of this activity might have to devise a much more effective way of arresting this particular thing. So it is not to say that we are not aware. It is not to say that we're doing nothing about it. But maybe their existence suggests that we ought to relook at our style and way.
So what new approach or what new style do you think you can apply that will make them, stop this activity or this practice?
So, like I said, it is not going to be a one-man show or one organization show. We ought to come together and rethink. I, on the spur of the moment, might want to look at a very much piercing.
Is that to suggest that the MPA has not sat down to think and plan and strategize and ask itself, these people have been around for a long time, it is illegal, it is dangerous, so let's re-strategize? The MPA hasn't done any planning or thinking?
Like I said, there's always a room for an improvement on a method that you've actually been exercising. I am thinking that maybe the measures are not that biting and punitive enough to be that deterrent for anybody to want to come back again after being arrested. Because like I said, we've been arresting them together with the police.
What are the sanctions? So, if you say it's so punitive enough, what are the sanctions?
Oh, immediately I don't have that with me.
You can't tell us. You can't tell us when they are operating illegally like this, and they are arrested. These are the sanctions that are meted out to them. You can't tell us.
No, what I'm saying is that they are supposed to be prosecuted, but the regime that comes with the prosecution, immediately I cannot give you that. Maybe if you call me back subsequently, I probably will be able to.
When was the last time? When was the last time somebody was even arrested and prosecuted and sanctions applied? When was the last time?
Oh, this is very on the spot question because we do it across the country. It is not just at one place. This one is speaking specifically to the issue of Ashanti region or Kumasi and the resultant burning of the tanker. I have not actually taken a brief from the regional office as to when the last time that particular.
What about Accra, where you are? Even in Accra, when was the last time a swoop or a clampdown was done and sanctions applied?
So, like I said, you see, I speak for the NPA. I don't work for that particular department where I would have account for it. If the interview that you planned had actually alerted me on this, I probably would have sought for information on that.
Well, yesterday, when I called you yesterday, I told you what the conversation was going to be about.
Yes, the conversation was going to be about the activities and what we are doing towards that. Okay.
And exactly that's what we're talking about. We're asking what sanctions you mete out to people who go contrary.
And I'm saying respectfully that immediately I don't have that information. It is not as if that information does not exist, but I don't have it. Okay, when you contacted me yesterday, immediately I got in touch with my inspection and monitoring manager. I got in touch with my health safety and security manager to see what is it that we've actually been doing and going forward, what probably would be the game plan. And so when I take the brief, I communicate through you to your listening public. If there is a pinpoint question that needs a certain answer, maybe give me another time, I'll come with it. But for now, I did not anticipate that particular line of questioning. And so I was only looking at what is it that we are doing. Are we aware of them? I'm told it's yes, we are aware of them. What have we been doing about them? I'm told that regularly we carry on soup with the police. What is it that we think we should be doing going forward once that activity keeps recurring? That is why I said that then there is a certain hint of a collaborative discussion to see whether the sanctioning regime has been that deterrent enough, and if not, what should actually be done about it.
Where do they get these fuel from anyway? I mean, the people who sell on tabletops and operate from containers and wooden structures, where do they get the fuel from?
Same illegal suppliers, because the suppliers are not designated to give them fuel at all. So the suppliers are as guilty as they the sellers.
And have you engaged with the suppliers? Because there are occasions you go to a fuel station to buy fuel, you realize that they come in trucks, and there are these drums at the back of the trucks, and it's being filled for them. Question is, why is that allowed? So why don't you speak to people who are selling to them as well? Not to.
Oh, no, we do. Because, you see, the trucks that take their load from the depot have a tracker, and we have a monitoring mechanism even at the head office that we're able to tell, okay, when you move from the place that you left and then where you are supposed to really go and deposit or discharge the product. But somehow people are still able to outsmart the processes and do what they are doing. for instance, the initial account that I had from the regional office, okay, given by the owner of the truck, suggested that they had a problem with their clutch and they want to fix it. Okay, it is another information that actually gave us the other side that suggested that no, there was a certain illegal discharge. Okay, so like I said, we have mechanisms that we use in tracking them. So right from the depot, we know where you're supposed to go to. But people try to still outsmart. And there's been a lot who have actually been caught in the web and have been sanctioned. Some have even been taken out of the schedule. Once we get you and we know that this is what you do, there is a fine that is put on you, and then you are also taken off the schedule and you are not able to come back and load. So the transporters know that we've actually been fighting them on this. But the situation is as it is. People always want to be more selfish than being patriotic, and so they are minded by their parochial interests. And as much as you want to come after them, they also try to devise their own strategy to want to ensure that what they want to do is they get it done.
There's this belief that there's a cabal of a sort who are operating this. Because Erasmus Sasaridonko a while ago told us that in cases where even soups are done and they are things that they operate with are seized, within a twinkle of an eye, it is given back to them and they go back operating. How do you respond to that? Who gives it back to them?
Okay, so this particular exercise is done in collaboration with national security. So we have where the limit to which we get to. The issue or the allegation of the items that are used are sent back to the people, that I actually cannot speak to. But what I know is that when the punishment is meted out, sometimes in the form of a fine, and then the seizure of the product in the BRV. So once the fine is paid and the product is discharged, okay, then the BRV could be returned to the owner. So in that particular instance, if the product is seized, the fine is paid, you probably should not be faulting the NPA for releasing, because that is part of the process. There are other punishments that stipulates that both the product and the BRV would be confiscated and auctioned. Okay, and when it is auctioned, it is supposed to be part of the defined chain of punishment that the MPA has actually put in place. So to the specific allegation of some having to be taken and gotten back, that I actually cannot speak to.
But again, if you're saying that you're having challenges because you work with national security and you have a limit to which you can operate, which of course I am wondering why so, because you are the regulator, you need to control these things. Do you think that we need a change in the law? Because currently as it stands now, maybe you have facing challenges and the law is not helping enough.
There's always a need for an improvement, without a doubt. But I think it is the anticipation of, as I always would put it, the imperfection of the society that necessitated the creation of the police service. Okay? If we're all perfect and doing the same thing and doing good things, maybe the police wouldn't have been in existence. So it is these regulatory challenges that have necessitated the existence of MPA. So the challenges, as and when they come, we certainly would be working towards them. If it is about the rules and regulation that needs to be tightened up, trust me, would be doing that. But like I said, there's always going to be a room for improvement, because as we strategize to fight them, a lot of these people who are criminally in mind would also want to strategize to outwit us. And it is for us to be able to be on top of our game at all times. And whatever that it takes for us to really be able to be in charge and control the environment so that we're able to weed out these criminal-minded people, trust me, we would leave no stone unturned at all.
I'm going to trust you on that, and when you say you're not going to leave any stone unturned, because we don't want a situation where there will be an explosion as a result of the operations, and then we will see you guys on the ground come and talk tough or talk big. This is the time for us to act, so to forestall any other problem. So we're going to take your word on that, and we wish you well. And that was Abdul Kudus who spoke to us. He's communications manager for the MPA. Erasmus Saridonko, how assured are you based on what you've heard so far?
I'm not the least convinced. He's just doing his job as a PR person. And David, it's sad that as we speak, there is somebody who is operating a world facility. It is not a fuel station. It is not a fuel depot. It is illegal, plain illegal, broad daylight. And we have many big personalities taking free fuel from this guy. And so he's operating, stealing fuel from tanker vehicles and selling it.
So hold on for me, Erasmus. DO3, Peter, you've heard Erasmus. There's a place where somebody is selling fuel illegally. The premises is walled. You were saying that when it comes to your attention, you're able to act. This has been mentioned to you this morning. What would you do? Because as part of your work, you're supposed to prevent fires.
Yes.
So if this can cause fire, what do you intend to do?
So we would have to. I would have to. I'm sure my regional commander is listening, and we'll have to sit down and strategize and move in quickly to stop the operations.
What about other places where they are, doing these things? Listen, I can personally direct you to several places.
Okay.
And Erasmus has mentioned some. And that's why I was asking that earlier question, that are you saying that all places where they are selling, even on Tabletop right now, you are not aware of them? You are
aware of all places.
No, but
I'm telling you that the ones that come before our notice, we work on them. I mean, I can give you examples where we've worked on them.
How do you respond to the fact that they come back to continue with the operations even when they've been clamped down?
So we understand that, from pieces of information that we are gathering, that when we stop them, they relocate to other places and they operate. So we will continue. Like I said, we may have to step up our game and work with the police so that when we stop them, the police can arrest them and prosecute them.
So this very one that we're hearing from Erasmus, this world compound where this person is selling illegal fuel, when can we see some action?
I can't say exactly when, but I can promise you that something will be done about it in collaboration with the police, the MPA, and all that matter.
But you cannot tell us how soon?
I can't say.
I'm hoping that you say from here, I'm going to call my commander and we'll go to the place.
Like I told you,
to the place right
my
now.
Commander is listening.
No, what I'm saying is, so tell us that you're going there this morning and close the place down. What does it take?
We'll work on it.
Erasmus, what would you want to leave us with?
You see, David, this firefighting approach will not help all of us. Now we wait for something to happen. This place I'm talking about has caught fire before. And they seized his equipment. Within a matter of months, they gave it back to him. I protested at the time that I don't understand why they've given the equipment back to the guy. He's back to the same area and he's spreading his tentacles now. 4 years down the line, he has walled the place up. Tanker vehicles go in there. They siphon the fuel. They sell to individuals. Big people go there, take free fuel and all that. Until it catches fire. And then we have the fire service going and doing their firefighting job. And maybe we lose lives. That conversation is dead. So why do we keep doing that to ourselves? There are agencies that are mandated. It's not like the MPA is not aware. They are aware. They are fully aware. They know where they are. So why do they sit in their offices, allow the fire to burn, and then they go firefighting and take their pens and pencils and go there and scribble and say, we are doing this, we are doing that, and blah, 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 blah.
Erasmus, thank you very much for your time. And for those of you who, buy from people who are selling illegally, by the roadside and all, you're also committing an offense. Let's activate the phone lines right now and get to hear from our listeners. 03220-83596. Please call us. What do you make of the fact that we have all manner of laws? And when it comes to this space, how to discharge fuel, there are ways and means to go about it. There are laws governing it. And yet, we are not applying it. And people are out there siphoning fuel. People are even going to filling stations. I've seen it. And I was saying to Abdul a while ago, I've seen trucks. They go to the filling stations. They have drums at the back of the vehicle. And it's being filled for them. And they go and they sell. So if you are operating a filling station, yes, you are in business. But if you see somebody doing such a thing, knowing the risks involved, why do you even sell to the person? And for those of you who would also go and park your vehicle and buy from them, you're also contributing to an illegality. So if we complain and talk about authorities and leaders not doing the right things, what about us? Once we buy from them, we're encouraging them to continue doing what they do. And then one day, unfortunately, the kind of things they use in operating, anything at all can happen. There's an explosion. Properties are lost. If we're not lucky, lives are lost. And then we come back and we'll be singing a different song and so we'll talk tough and nothing really happens. What kind of a people are we? Christoph, good morning.
Good morning, David. How are you, sir?
I am well, my brother. Thanks for asking.
You see, David, fuel siphoning has been with us since the time of Adam. Look, laws that are supposed to work are not working. Our laws are kept in books, and people are doing all kinds of things and get away with them. David, in my village, UAG, it's a fishing community. They get premix fuel from Tamahaba. And sometimes they will go and sell this premix fuel in the bush. People will go there and siphon. It's still going on. Meanwhile, there are people who have been tasked to make sure that they control the movement of all these things. So it's as if Ghana, unless God himself comes down. Now look at what happened in Bogoso. It was somebody's duty to make sure that before that explosive material is going, there should be police escort and all that, but nothing like that was made. So to me, I believe that we should go back and revisit our laws. People who are there, they sit down and take bigger salary and they don't do anything. People are dying. This Kaase issue you are talking about, people have lost their life because their houses built with wood and all that. It's gone. A lot of people, their livelihoods are gone. And so we talk about this thing within 2 days, and then it's off. So I think that people who have been tasked to make sure they take measures to ensure that people do the right thing, they're not doing it.
Thank you.
They just
Thank you.
money. God help us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. And let's keep our contributions quite simple so we can have many people come through. 03220-83596. We have Erasmus on the line. Erasmus, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, David.
Do you buy from them?
No.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
But
Good to hear.
the point is, David, this thing is all over. I remember some time ago, I saw one and I wanted to report. The people around me started branding me as an evil person. And look, come to the Biaku, just ride at D&D Junction. There is some of these things going on there. You get to Swami roundabout, going to Akuetteh Junction, just to your left-hand side, there is a guy who does it. And the police are there watching. David, there is so much of indiscipline in our society. And sometimes some of us, when we try to talk about it, we are seen as the bad ones. And today, when you come to Ghana, rights are seen as the wrong, and the wrongs are seen as the right. And that is the country that we live in.
Erasmus, thanks for joining us. And while you're talking about that D&D junction, I know that place very well. I was telling them off air about it before you even came in with it. I was telling them about it. 03220-83596. We're talking about siphoning of fuel. Do you know any place where they're siphoning fuel? Bring it to our attention. What about those who are selling petroleum products? I mean, diesel, petrol on tabletops or from wooden structures and all that. Let's talk about this. Let's clamp down on them before something bad really happens. Frank, good morning.
Good morning, David.
Welcome, sir.
Please, how are you?
Grace has found me.
In fact, Frank, the fact is something I get disappointed when I hear PROs being paid to speak lies. What is true, they decide to brand it as if they are not aware. I'm very glad today you are tackling this issue because every day I do talk about it. Hey, if you are coming from Accra to Kumasi, along the roadside, all places that you see that it's a fence with this sack, police, and other things. This is what they do. Sometimes you move along the roadside, you see a rough road heading towards the bush. It's where the tankers pass through. They sample this fuel to the illegal operators. And I'm very much aware. Since I am aware, I know a lot of people are also aware. So if the PRO is saying he's not aware of it, David, I'm telling you, you should come for me. You should pick my number and come for me. I'll go and direct him where they sample this fuel. So that you should take them on. The indiscipline in this country is becoming too much. Thank you, David.
Well, thank you very much. And that was Frank, who also joined us on the lines, 03220-83596. Call us. Let's do this together. Kwame, good morning.
Good morning, David.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. How are you doing this morning?
I am well. Thanks for asking.
Good. David, this morning we are talking about fuel siphoning.
And then the sale of fuel on tabletops and all that, yeah.
And also Ghana National Fire Service. David, here is where the data address is coming strongly. On 3 occasions, I've asked this question. How will David Akuetteh use his smartphone to locate this digital address, AK7918095. David, I'll be glad if you could answer this question this morning. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, Kwame, for calling us. Let's move on and speak to Kwesi. Hi, Kwesi. How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope you're fine.
I am well too. Kwesi, do you drive?
Yes.
Do you buy from these people?
I've bought from that particular place before.
Which one?
The one around Ashford, Kaase.
Oh, okay, the Kaase area. Let's hear you, Kwesi. Why would you want to buy from them anyway? Because you're not even assured of the quality of fuel you're buying.
Very good. Because of that, I got to know that their fuel is not of good quality. And because of that, I've stopped buying from them. And you see how the fireman in the office, in the studio was family. Who told you they don't know that place? They know the place. The authorities know the place. But because we are living in a society where people do not want to follow rules and corruption is everywhere, that is why they cannot close that place up. That is why. And it's very sad. It is very, very sad, the kind of country that you are living in. God help us.
Well, thank you very much, Kwesi. And you know what? I don't want this conversation to be one of those conversations where we talk about it and we allow things to die its natural death or natural cause. No. I'm going to be on your case. And anywhere I find them, I'll call you. And if after 1 week they're still there, I'll come and tell my listeners on radio that I spoke to Peter Adai, DO3 Peter Adai, who says if he gets to know about it, they act upon it. And if you don't do it, I'll come and tell the listeners, because you're supposed not just to fight fire or manage fire, but to prevent fire. This, if we had done the right things, would not have happened on Friday. Abdullah Sumaila, good morning. Abdullah, good morning. Do we have Abdullah on?
Yeah, good morning.
Is that Abdullah Sumaila or Kobna?
No, this is Kobna.
Kobna. Okay, so Abdullah, we lost you. Sorry about that. Let's hear Kobna.
David,
yes,
if you come to high school, the road on the side of high school that leads to KNUST behind Shangate, there's one there. I see them every day.
Yes, I think I've seen that one too. There's they sell flowers there or something.
Exactly so.
Yeah.
Exactly that location. When I see them, I get so surprised that we are doing an illegal business in the glaring of everybody, as if we don't have leadership in this country. The point is that we've reduced leadership to be a position of privilege, not a position to work. We don't see in Ghana or Africa, we don't see leadership that way. Anytime somebody is appointed, that's why last time when I called you, I spoke about the ministerial veteran, if you saw what was going on before COVID. They see it as a privilege. You have been honored because you are working hard for the party. So go and be this, go and be that. So when they get there, they are deactivated from the problem. And we are running a system where we don't even allow them to experience these problems till they leave. So they will keep doing this. I'm quite sad about the man in your studio. I didn't get his name. But for him to be pointed to one where there has been living fire before, and he couldn't tell you that right after leaving the studio, you are going to work on it. But he said, let's wait. That shows that they are not just ready to do it. They come and they talk to us because they think we are fools. Whatever they tell us, we will take. So they come and run their mouth and go. And truly, when they leave, nothing happens. That is the sad state. So we are ready to do these things. Please, let's forget about it. Let me also quickly talk about this morning. I heard you so excited about the fact that something is going to be done. Please, I'll beg you, wait for it to be done before you celebrate.
No, first of all, we were excited about the fact that something has been done about the Asafo interchange. Yes, the ones we raised concerns about has been done.
Then hooray.
Yes, but there's another one around airport runabout that we have been assured will be completed by end of February. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. Thank you. Thank you, Kobna. Asampana is also on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, David.
Welcome, Asampana. Let's hear you.
I hope you're doing good.
Grace has found me. I'm well. Thanks for asking, sir.
David, do you know one thing?
Tell me.
This fuel thing, it's not those you think who are selling it. There are real big men around it. Look at how filling stations have cropped up in this region. Every 5 meters you go, you see a fuel station where we reserve as residential areas, also having fuel stations. You see, we are not doing anything. We are virtually waiting for disaster to happen, and we will just talk. People will come and explain. People will come and console
Asampana, thanks for joining us as well. We want to pick 2 more calls and then we wrap up on the phone line. So we have Abraham on now. Abraham, good morning.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You're most welcome, sir. Let's hear you.
From Accra to Parko, so you will find one there. Do we have to do the investigation for the security people, the DNI, the police, the fire service, and other people? Do Ghanaians have to do investigation for them, or they are recruited to do investigation and clamp down those people? Why should he be on a national radio and access citizens to come and report to them? What are they doing at the office? If president is even going to workplaces to check whether there are ongoing works, president, and you who have been paid to go and investigate, go to the community. That's why they said police. I listened to when Kufuor was president. They said they want the police to be in the community, so that's why they are not building these bungalows for them, so that they are part of it. They know the system that is being operated, the criminal things that is being, so that they can calm down. Even if not you can report to other places. They will come and do it. What are they doing? As if the president should come and do everything.
Abraham,
at your corner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's speak to our final caller now. Kofi Bedu, good morning.
Hello, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm well, Kofi. Welcome.
Good. Dave, yes, I've once, engaged in some of these. I've bought some from them before, and what I did was that because I saw many private cars in queue, sometimes in queue, ironically, buying from these people. And I was so surprised. And I engaged in one of these drivers that what has been the motivating factor. And then he says, it's cheaper. So I went to this guy and said, okay, I want some. I had to move your whole bar. And he said, open the tower. So they themselves know that, they know that the risk involved. So they say, I think the whole bar will say, open that. It's okay, I'm buying some. So I bought it, but unfortunately, it is less quality, even though it's cheaper, of course, but it's less quality. So people, we should be, since then, I've partially stopped by because I just wanted to know the motivating factor and also, some of their engagement. That is how come I've bought some from them before, but I don't think it's of good quality. So I'm stopped buying from them.
I hear you, Kofi Bedu. And let's all stop by patronizing it. It will help us all. And so let's get back into our studios now. And whilst in the studios, I want you to tell us, what are the dangers in buying from these people? If they're siphoning fuel, they are operating illegally, they're not observing all the safety measures and all that. What are the risks or the dangers, when you're buying from such persons? I mean, for example, somebody who's operating from a tabletop? And are using the funnel.
Buying from them will also mean that you are also encouraging them to still be in business. So first and foremost, we should all agree or make up our minds that even though this is cheaper, we won't buy from them. Also, it has health implications. These things are cancerous, can lead to cancer. In fact, there are reports that these things have health implications. They have environmental implications. When they go into the environment, they can cause a lot of mess. So if you go to places like Western region and stuff, they have facilities where some of these products are treated before they are released into the environment. Also, they are volatile substances. They are highly flammable, and they can cause fire even at the lowest levels of temperatures. So we advise that these things shouldn't be encouraged, because the slight opportunity it comes into contact with any ignition source or heat source, it can cause fire.
I'm sure that is exactly what happened at Kaase, where when they were siphoning the fuel
into the tricycle, the tricycle's ignition was on. There were a lot of heat coming from the engine and the exhaust. It came into contact with the.
And again, this is fuel. So for those who even go to buy from people who operate from the wooden structures, and you're using the funnel, once it's metal. So if it enters your fuel area, and then they are pouring the fuel into it, and there's a scratch, there's a slight movement,
little spark, static energy all over.
Your vehicle
the
is
people
gone.
are also not well trained. They don't put any into place any safety measures. So the slightest, I mean, fire
Spark,
can cause fire, and
lives will be lost. Your vehicle will be gone, and many other properties will be lost as well. So now we have given you some information as to where you can find some of these things.
Yes. We've taken note.
Akuetteh Junction.
Yes, we've taken note of the
Ahinsan area.
Yes.
There's one there.
Yes.
Even the Covert area around Akuetteh, there's a place called Covert at Akuetteh. There's one there. If you go to Swami, there's another there. One of the callers talked about Aprade, Pakosu Road. There's another there. So you know these things. Please work on them.
We'll work on them. I can assure you that we'll take immediate steps to work on these things.
So you were telling me that even for the one I mentioned at Ahinsan, you have what? Asked him to stop work before?
Yes, we've asked him. We closed this place.
When you say close, what do you mean by close?
We shut down his operations for a while. I'm surprised it's coming up to.
Did you demolish the structure?
We don't have the powers to demolish. It is the assembly that has the powers.
But you can liaise with the assembly.
Yes.
Because if you go and you close the shop, and you just go away, he will come back and open the shop and operate.
I'm surprised this information is coming back to us.
When you demolish the structure,
yes,
and they know how much it's going to cost them to put it up again, it will deter them.
So like I told you, there are a lot of agencies that will have to come together to be able to work in this regard. Assembly, for one, has a role to play.
And you work with
the
them.
Police, the MPO, who is the main regulator, has a role to play. EPA has a role to play. Then fire service will also come in. So we have to, together move in and work on these things.
These things did not start just today or yesterday. They've been with that for years. And so if we have put in the appropriate measures to fight them, we'll not be where we are right now. But all the same, thank you very much for your time. And we are expecting, especially with the Kaase one, we're hoping that the person who's operating from that world environment, you go and deal with him. And again, the ones that we've mentioned and shared with you, you also tackle them and work on them.
We'll work on those.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too for your time, and we appreciate it.
All right, so this has been Love in the Morning for today, and we'll be joining the feed on Joy 99.7 for more. Stay with us.
What you see behind me is a tanker that has caught fire and has spread to parts of other buildings here. And currently the access routes leading to this place is very poor and is making the fire service have difficulty in dousing the fire. The affected area is alleged to be a hideout for illegal fuel siphoning activities. Eyewitnesses say some individuals were using gallons to siphon fuel from the tanker at the hideout. While in the illegal operation, a tricycle on ignition close to the activity sparked fire. Ashanti Regional Deputy Fire Commander Rashid Nisau said residents failed in attempt to douse the fire, which later spread.
They brought Abdaboboya with 4 gallons to siphon fuel into the Abuboya. In the process, it caught fire, and they were concentrating on putting out the fire on the Abuboya. They couldn't put it out, and then it spread to the main tank, and the fire started burning. But it has also affected adjoining structures. These quarters who are here, it has affected them, the bush behind the wall, and threatening a warehouse that was close to the facility. About 50 makeshift structures occupied by squatters were burnt completely. No casualty has been recorded, but a number of families have been displaced.
Obi stupid mistake into what the car we have see na or fuel be ema ja betom mimi nifie na ba be me fie nyina mantimi amfa bibia mpie.
The fire spread to an abandoned factory in the area. 4 fire tenders arrived at the scene as firefighters brought the situation under control. The fire command wants police support to curtail the illegal fuel siphoning.
The driver, who is the victim, the Abuboya driver, everybody has run away. So we don't have them here. So we wouldn't be able to get more information on exactly what has happened. But from people who were around, this is what they saw and they narrated to us. And they said siphoning fuel is a constant practice that goes on here that they know. But today was a bad day for them. And then this is what happened.
From Kaase for Joy News, Mona Lisa Frempong reporting.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe and click the bell icon and get notified every time we share something interesting. We would love to have you on there.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
What you see behind me is a tanker that has caught fire and has